It is the technology show where we translate geek into regular speak. I'm on my own this week, but this week is it's a show about love. I've called today's show TLC for TCL. Now, if you haven't been watching the show before, or you haven't been watching for a while, then you may not know that TCL is the sponsor of our show. And in fact, it's been a very interesting year. It's been an interesting year for everyone, I think, as a whole. But more importantly, TCL have launched 5 devices this year. And I'm talking about mobile phones specifically. There's other tricks and other good stuff as well. I'm just talking about mobile phones. It's very rare that a brand would launch 5 devices in 1 year. So I thought it'd be fitting that, one, to say thank you for a really long, interesting year as we move into our crazy time. With Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Singles Day, Click Frenzy, Christmas, Hanukkah. I don't know. There's so many different things that are coming up now. I just thought, if you were going to be looking at making purchases, I definitely want to make sure that these devices are top of mind for you. Now, if you've watched my show, I hardly ever talk about price, but that is one of the things that I wanted to highlight on today's show when I go through the different devices for the year. Actually, a little bit of a presentation here. Let's bring that up. If I go there. So I think to start off with, we've come a long way. For those of you that don't know, my very first mobile phone was an Alcatel HB160. I don't have a photo of that, but it was really ugly. You could probably be charged with grievous bodily harm if you hit someone with it. I mean, it was this big, that thick, a little aerial, little screen, green light screen. You could actually change it to an orange backlight as well. And you got about an hour's battery life out of it. And yes, I'm going back a very, very long time ago. So, so basically, when I first started doing this show here in Australia many years ago, I think it's been nearly 4 years now I've been doing the show. Alcatel came on board as a sponsor and looked after us. And there's a screenshot. Well, sorry, Angela, I just realized that I took a screenshot of you with your eyes closed. I'm going to take flack for that. But there we had the Alcatel branding. We had a little picture of an Alcatel phone. And, as we've progressed, TCL has now become, TCL made the Alcatel phone. TCL, as you know, has now been in the country for a couple of years. Well, before that, even with just TVs, but very, very strong on phones at the moment. And we now have the TCL branded show. We're part of the SME TV and podcast community. We work with the SME Association of Australia. So a lot of good changes. So let's move in today's show. So I had to share that. In fact, let's go to full screen because you don't need 2 of me on the screen at the same time. So this is what today's show is all about. This is the joys and presents that I got sent from the fine guys and girls over at TCL. So I thought, let's go through them and what these 5 devices are. So Thingz with a Z today is actually going to be called Hapinez with a Z today because that's what I got. And these are the 5 phones that I've unpacked. Now, I'm going to go through the phones today in their grouping, one by connectivity, and then also 2 focusing on the features and price points, so that hopefully by the end of today's show, not only do you love TCL as much as I do, but also if you are looking for a mobile phone for yourself as a purpose-driven device, which I'm going to get to specifically with one of these phones, or you need to get a device for someone in your family, I would be dumbfounded if you did not find a device within this 5 mix that we're going to go through today. And if you do, please reach out to me and tell me why you didn't. So let's get into it. So the 5 phones that they've launched over this year, I'm going to start off, and I think what's also important to make mention, this applies to all 5. These are Android Enterprise recommended. Now, what does that mean? If you're going to be using the phone for business, and more specifically as a bring your own device, which most of us do when we work, the fact that it's Android Enterprise recommended means that it meets all the security needs to help a CIO or CTO or just your network operator ensure that your device would not be a threat to the internal network, as well as it follows the protocols and has all the safety checks in place to try and prevent us from downloading or opening or doing things with our devices we shouldn't be doing. So it's quite a big thing. Not every Android phone gets that. It's not something you just get because you're running Android. There's a lot of protocols that you need to go through to actually get that badge. And I'm happy to say that all 5 of these phones do have the Android Enterprise Recommendation certification. So let's start off with the first one. I've actually got them all laid out here. I wish I could actually take my camera out and show you. I'm sitting here surrounded by phones. So the first phone that I have up on the screen is the TCL 20 SE. So there it is there. I mean, and I'm going to talk about the screens of all of them, but I mean, you can see the colors are incredible. There's NXT, and I think what's really important is that you need to remember that TCL's legacy comes from television. So what they've learned in TVs and making sure that we've got high-res colors, lots of really vivid, sharp, rich color, as you can see. What did I do there? I swiped up the wrong way. But the whole thing is we talk about display greatness. That's TCL's powerful line. I don't know if you can see my shirt. I'm even wearing my TCL shirt today. So it really is a love for the brand show. But NXT Vision enhances color. It is one of the not only phones, sorry, there's a few phones, but a lot more expensive phones that have a Netflix certification. In other words, Netflix recommends that you watch their content on these devices, which says something, right? So the colors there. Most of them are dual speakers, if not headsets. But let's talk about the 20 SE. So I mentioned at the start of the show that I was going to group them into connectivity. This is a 4G phone. Okay, so 5G is the big buzz, and I'm going to get into 5G a bit later on. But for now, this is a 4G phone. It is under $300. I'm holding a 6.82-inch screen with a 5,000 milliamp battery. Now, just to put that into perspective for you, for those of you that use iPhones, I use an iPhone too. I think my iPhone's battery is 4,120 odd milliamps. So this has got more battery power than a top-of-the-range iPhone. It also has reverse charging capability. So it's USB-C. Apple, if you're listening, please, 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 please. Anyway, it's USB-C, which means that power can go in and out. You can charge up another device. Let's say you have a headset, right? And your battery's died. Plug in the headset little charging box, charge it up. So it has that. It's it's a 48 megapixel camera quad core system. So you can see over there, there's a fingerprint unlock over there. 60 megapixel on the primary camera, 4 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of memory. Okay. So this is a phone that, in my opinion, you're looking for under $300. It's an incredible secondary device. It's a fantastic first phone for anyone out there. And it's a great media device. I mean, 6.82 inches with a 20:9 ratio. If you want to watch content, I'm not going to sit here and try and fire up content in that now, but if you want to watch content on a portable device, sitting on a train, sitting at the beach, doing what you need to do, this is definitely something to consider. And as I said, for under $300, I'm talking Australian dollars now, so I don't know what that is in American, 250 odd US dollars. Definitely, it feels solid. It's got weight. It's a great, great device. 4G. Okay, I'm gonna leave the 4G 5G discussion until we get to the 5G units. Right. So I'm gonna put that one down for now. Moving along. This is the TCL 20L Plus. Sorry. So I mean, again, beautiful color. I'm just trying to get into my camera there. Beautiful color, and it goes dull. So really beautiful, bright color. Body, again, feels wonderful. This is a 4-camera configuration at the back as well, as you can see. 64 megapixels total, 4K video capability, 6 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of memory. Now, this is the interesting thing. Also got the 5,000 milliamp battery. It's under $400. This would be the device that you would want to get if you're looking to take great pictures and consume media. So it is better than the SE that I've just shown. It is also $100 more than the SE. But what's interesting is there's a 91% screen to body ratio. So what I'm going to do to show you that is if you look, you can see how the screen is almost edge to edge. There's hardly any bezels around the device. Now, if I turn the SE back on, oh, and by the way, the fingerprint is on the side. It's on the power button. If I turn it back on and I go here, you can see the black, the bezel, the bevel that's actually over there. So that reduces the screen ratio, which does make the device cheaper and easier to make. That being said, if I put the two phones side by side, and let's try and get their screens on, and I can't see what you see now. I'm going to try and move back. They are the L Plus is slightly longer. Hold on, screen's gone off. Sorry. The L Plus is slightly shorter than the SE in body wise, but the screen ratio is almost the same because of that 91% coverage. And if I bring that straight back in again, with the lights on, you can see there's hardly any bezels around the edge of that phone. All right, so I mentioned the 4G, 5G story at the beginning of the show. In my opinion, I have 5G devices. I'm sitting with 3 more that we're about to talk about now. So I have lots of 5G devices. The problem with 5G at the moment is there's not many 5G towers running around Australia. And if they are, not all of them are always connecting and running at full 5G speed. So the question you need to ask yourself is, for under $400, I'm getting a 6.67-inch, 5,000 megapixel, milliamp all-day battery, incredible cameras with AI technology, reverse capable charging, 4K video recording. Do I really need 5G connectivity? So the simple answer to that question is probably not, unless you're trying to send your content in real time somewhere, or more importantly, you're trying to stream in real time and you're not in a Wi-Fi zone and you're watching 4K for whatever reason, or you need to see 4K, the chances are you probably don't need 5G connectivity because 4G is still pretty damn quick. So that would be an influencer when it comes to price, because when I start looking at some of the other models that we're going to talk about now, and not just TCL, and I have to actually say something on the note of TCL, and this is also what makes them such a great sponsor. I have reviewed so many different devices on my show. I've spoken about the good and the bad, how some of them are incredible. I'm going to mention it now. I think it was 2 weeks ago, I reviewed the new Google Pixel 6 Pro. It is a fantastic device, but it is also a $1,300 device. So, again, TCL have never ever said to me, Brett, you can't talk about other phones. You can't talk about this. I think it's important to keep comparing technology. It's important because you really need to have a good, clear understanding of what's available out there. And not every device is the right device for everyone. But again, as I said at the beginning of the show, if you cannot find a device within the 5 that we're going to talk about today, then I'm not really sure. Then maybe it's more snobbish that you're looking at an iPhone or Samsung brand as opposed to what the device can do, because I really do believe that we have something for everyone in this mix. So let's carry on the journey. Where's my mouse? Next up, I'm doing the TCL 25G. As its name would suggest, this is the first of the 5G phones that I'm going to chat about today. And if my memory serves me correct, because I have reviewed all these devices individually under Thingz with a Z over the year, this was the first 5G phone that TCL brought out. It is absolutely beautiful when it comes to the color. I mean, this blue is just magic. And there's an effect that's been done here along the camera that makes it look like it's almost a 3D. The camera, the video podcast doesn't do it justice. Now, interesting enough, this is a tri-camera configuration. So one of the first things I remember sitting down with the TCL team and going, hold on a second, I've just reviewed a phone that has 4 cameras and now you're showing me a phone that's got 3 cameras. Why would you do that? Well, it's very simple. We've all picked up phones that have got 3 cameras, 4 cameras, 12 cameras, 1 camera. And sometimes the 1 camera is even better than the 2 or 3 camera configurations. There's a lot of things you need to remember with camera technology. And if Lon is watching the show, he's my go-to guy when it comes to all things technology or camera specific. It's not only about how many lenses or holes you can see on the screen, right? It's about the optics and the quality of them. I'm going to use another brand. Nokia has done a partnership with Zeiss. The lenses are fantastic. One of the devices we're going to review a little bit later on this show, it's got Sony optics in. Yes, it's a TCL, but it's running Sony optics. Why? Sony camera optics are fantastic. So I would rather have, and this is the discussion, and this was the discussion I had with the TCL team between these 2 devices. This is the 4G 20L with 4 cameras, and this is the 5G 20 TCL 25G. I'm going to get tongue twisted on this today on this show, with 3 cameras, but it still shoots in 4K video. The technology and software and the way the optics work and the artificial intelligence. In fact, there, Alon's definitely listening to the show. He's just posted up. Let me see if I can share that comment. He's put here, Sony makes the Hasselblad's full frame sensors. There it is there. I'm not just making this stuff up. Thanks, Alon. As I said, always the guy I can go to when it comes to tech. And I'm sure he'll agree with me. It doesn't matter if it's 3 or 4. It matters about the sensors, the lenses, and the software that drives it. This phone takes fantastic pictures. Now, being the first of the 5Gs that we're going to talk about today, everything that I mentioned earlier about speed, it does apply in this case. I'm on next. I've been pushing buttons while I'm flicking my phone around. Let's just go more, except I don't know what I'm accepting, but let's see. So I wanted to get back to the screen to show you again just the color and the absolute beauty of this. But it has 5G connectivity, which means that you're going to get the speeds that you want should you need it. Look at that there. There's actually a nice example of what NXT Vision does on and off. Can you see how that's sliding? This is what this phone is all about with NXT Vision, or Next Vision as we call it. So it's a 5G device. It's deemed as an entry-level device. I would seriously question that definition. There is in its color. It does everything that phones probably even double its price can do equally. 6 gigs of RAM on board, 28 gigs of memory. Of course, being Android, you'd use Google Drive for your external storage. Fantastic device. Who would this be a good one for? Again, like when we reviewed the SE, if you're consuming a lot of media and you're consuming it in high res, and you need it at speed, please stop beeping at me. I'm going to put you down. So high res, big connectivity, sharing a lot of data, consuming streaming media, a lot of YouTube, etc. Then you need your 5G, or you want your 5G, and maybe it's a case of getting a 5G device to ensure you're a little bit more future-proof. And I go future-proof because we still run 3G networks. So 4G is not going anywhere. So if you own a 4G phone or you invest in a 4G phone, you're not buying old technology. My definition of old technology is things that come with a micro USB port. That's old technology. If it doesn't have a USB-C, you might want to question it. But 4G, still good. So sub $500, 5G, beautiful screen, lovely cameras, really good technology. One that should be considered if you're looking at a 5G device. Next on the list. Now, this device, this here, I'm like a kid in a candy shop. I remember reviewing this device a few months ago. This was the last device that TCL launched in this year. So although it's not the last device we're talking about today, there's a reason I'm doing that as well. This was the last device or the most recent device that they've just launched. This phone blows my mind away. Okay, and again, this is not because TCL sponsors my show. This phone is one of my favorite toys that I've had, or I've received, I should say, this year. Why? So anyone that knows me, if you don't, gaming chair, I love gaming. We're a gaming family. My son is a huge gamer. Now, I don't play on console or PC. Well, I play on console every now and then, but I hardly play on PC. I like to mobile game. This is the TCL 20R 5G. And boy, are you ready, or R for refresh, or R for, I don't know. This has a 90 hertz refresh rate. So for anyone that's played games, frames win games. And the ability for a screen to refresh itself is critical, especially in a first-person shooter game. So I can hear the little voices going out there, hey, Brett, but can you play a big game like Call of Duty or PUBG or Fortnite? Definitely. Now, staying with those games, the refresh rate is hypercritical because if you're doing a first-person shooter and you turn like that, the phone has to, in this case, the phone, but the screen needs to refresh so that by the time you actually turn to where you're looking, you haven't been shot and you see what's actually out there. And that's the problem with most mobiles and why mobile gaming has been so slow to be adopted. Most of them are 30 to 60 hertz refresh rates. In fact, I stand corrected. But I think up until the iPhone 12, they didn't have more than 60 hertz refresh rate on an iPhone. This is a $1,400 phone. Scroll down to the little notes on my screen. Under $350. So let's just stop there for a second. 5G connectivity, 6.52-inch screen. It does have quite a big bezel. You can see it in the picture over there on the screen. 4,500 milliamp battery, which is still respectable. It's bigger than most of the iPhones out there. It's got eye comfort mode and low blue light. Again, TCL sat down and thought about gamers. We spend tons of time on our phones. So they've reduced the blue light exposure. They've got a thing called eye comfort mode that you actually select here. It's all part of NXT Vision. And again, TCL's understanding of screens and screen technology. So 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of memory. So I'm going to stop there for a second. And it's a 3-camera configuration. So the one question that I probably would ask myself, and maybe you would ask yourself, is if I take the TCL 20 SE, this guy over here, and I take the 5G R, the 20R 5G, which one would I go for? This is where I said at the beginning of the show, you really need to decide what you're going to look for at your phone. Take the 5G connectivity out. If you're gaming, out of any of the phones we're going to talk about today, this is probably it, the 20R. But if you want better pictures and maybe better media consumption, then you might, at a slower speed, you might consider the 20 SE. Why? Because the price points are similar. This is a 350. I was not blown away by the pictures this phone took, but this phone was not designed. I thought the R was for pirate games, as a comment that's just come up. We don't talk about piracy over here on the technology show. So, but thanks for the comment. So, if you're looking to play games on your phone, there is no other phone to consider except for this phone, the 20R or the 20R 5G. But if you were looking for a phone that does pretty much everything and has a good experience as well, I must say I didn't find the pictures on this phone that were that great. They didn't take the greatest photography. Were they the worst pictures I've ever seen? No. But the phone wasn't designed to be a high-end photographic device. This was designed to be a gaming device, and it does not disappoint in that arena. So yeah, there it is. I mean, again, colors are beautiful. So if you just want to consume media, happy with a really good photograph, but more importantly, 90 hertz refresh rates. And I'm not doing myself any justice or TCL any justice by not mentioning the 180 hertz touch sampling. That means that when you're touching the screen, because your fingers are going to move all over, the touch is refreshing at 180 hertz. It's insane that they can put all that technology and goodness into a sub 350 Australian dollar phone. Now, we've talked about connectivity and we were talking about how to connect, and I mentioned USB-Cs and that. Staying with gaming, I'm just going to quickly take a step back from my love and my TLC for TCL. I just want to show you this. This was sent to me the other day. Geek, I think Laserco makes the product. The brand's called Geek. This is an 8K HDMI cable. And I want to use the opportunity to bring this into today's show for a very simple reason. Not all HDMI cables are made equal. Now, if you look along the bottom of this box over here, you can see lots of things. Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, Netflix. What else we got? Foxtel 4K, Apple TV Plus, Xbox X, PS5, blah, blah, blah. Okay, ultra high speed certified. So this, and I'm bringing this up again because we're talking about the gaming phone now, but the Geek 8K, first of all, you can get a 3 meter and a 5 meter. So they really have thought about media. I've got a comment here to make my camera bigger. Okay, you see, I'm proving my shows live. Let's do this. Make the camera bigger. There it is, Geek 8K cable. So if you're looking to play games, and we've been talking about the importance of refresh rates, and if you're looking to watch 4K content, I mean, that's rated to 8K. I don't own an 8K TV, and I don't know if my eyes would even see the difference between 8K and 4K, but there is 8K. And I know that the Sony PlayStation 5 is rated to generate 8K games. Excuse me. So that is a 3 meter, and you can get a 5 meter cable. Now, why I'm stressing that is that when it comes to sending content over a long cable, you lose quality. So if you are looking at playing games and you are setting up a rig at home, or you've just got yourself a new console, it's Christmas time, please make sure you do spend the extra money on the right cabling. It makes all the difference. It really does. Right, let's get back to the phones. That was said. That was just a little quick segue because this was something that I was battling with personally. What have we got next? Right. So the last phone that I have, which was the second last release, I think, is the TCL 20 Pro 5G. Now, my TCL that I've always used up until this was the 10 Pro. And I have to say that coming from the 10 Pro to this, seamless, beautiful. The feel and size in hand still feels the same, and it feels so good. In fact, I think I've still got my TCL 10 here. I do. So there's the comparison. You can see that the new 20 is slightly longer, which means more real estate. The camera configuration is different on the back as well. Let's talk about cameras for a second. Okay. So we have 5G connectivity. We've got a 4,500 milliamp battery, so it's all day. 6.67 curved AMOLED. You can see the curve there, how the screen curves down. What makes this? So I think the question here, maybe I need to just put out there, is that would I take this versus the R, given that I'm such a gamer and that I use my phone on gaming? I would probably personally still go for the 20 Pro. And the only reason I say that is that I don't play games that need a 90 refresh rate that regularly. This screen, this camera is just absolutely incredible. So we've got, and the reason I saved this to last is that not everyone buys a phone to use for a single thing like me. Not everyone's lucky enough that has such an awesome sponsor that sends you all these lovely toys to play with. And no, please don't hit the comments and question answers to ask for them. These phones are like children to me. Once I get them, I keep them. Ask my ex-co-host Aria. He's asked many times for a phone and he's yet to get one. So back to the 20L. That's what 20 Pro. If you were just going to buy a phone that could do everything, then that is why I saved this. This is the flagship. They're using the Sony optics. So you've got an AMOLED screen, which is absolutely beautiful. Should be on. I mean, the colors are just magnificent. You've got a quad camera system using Sony optics. It records in 4K video, 6 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of memory. And here's the big kicker, right? It's under $800. Now, you've got Samsung's. I talked about the Google Pixel. The Google Pixel 6 is just released. I think it's 999, not the Pro, the normal, which is what I would compare this phone to. Okay. These are phones that are on the same type of technology in the sense of the processors, the amount of RAM, the amount of memory. In fact, there's more memory on here than there was on the entry level. I think it was only 128 gigs on the 999 Pixel 6. So, you're looking at a top-end device that is under I can't even say under $1,000. It's under $800. I've only just stopped using my 10 because I now have the 20. But up until, I don't know, it was 2 months ago that I got the phone, my 10 was working. So it's a phone that lasts. It's upgraded. The software upgrades came through. I have no doubt that the same will apply to the 20, that most of the cell phone brands now are doing what they call the 2 upgrade. So, we'd probably, 12 is next, Android 12. So you'll probably see 12 and 13. This is 11. Absolutely beautiful phone. It just does everything that you would want your phone to do. So that would be where I would end off on my phone journey. I'm going to quickly go back to the slide, which brings all 5 of them up again. So just quickly to finish off the segment on the devices, if you are budget conscious, then you would be looking at the TCL 20 SE, or if you wanted the connectivity, you would probably look at the 20R 5G. The one's just under $300, the one's under $350. You're talking about a $50 difference, and that's pretty much your main trade-off. There is you're going to get a 5G phone for $50 more with not as good camera quality, or you're going to get a 4G phone for $50 less with better camera quality. When it comes to actually consuming the media and looking at the media, besides the refresh rates, you're much of a muchness from what it is that you're going to actually what you're going to see. Right. Then let's move to the other three devices. Staying with 4G connectivity, but getting yourself a really incredible package deal. You would then maybe consider the TCL 20L Plus. It's one of the top left. My left, your left, our left. I don't know. Again, the only thing that would hold back on that is it's a 4G device. So the only reason you would not consider the phone is that it's a 4G device. There's no other reason not to consider it as a phone. Cameras are great, screen is beautiful, battery life incredible, and so on. And then that would leave us with the last two of the 5G phones, because I mentioned the 20 R 5G, R Pirate for Elon. The 20 5G is a sub, what's it, $350? I think it was a $400 phone. Great camera, great memory, speed, everything that you would want in a 5G phone at an entry-level price, but offering you a mid-priced or mid-market phone is how the industry refers to it. And then, of course, the flagship, the 20 Pro 5G. That's an $800 phone or $780, $790 phone. So there is a phone of choice there for everyone. If you do have the extra cash and you do some mobile gaming, if I had to take the 5 phones today and say, where would I be if I was only to buy one? I did say I'd go with the Pro, but I probably would look at the 20R 5G. You're getting your 5G speeds, you're getting a great screen, you're getting to game, good battery life, nice feel, nice and durable. All of them, I think, had face unlock as well. I don't think I mentioned that, which some of the top phones in the market don't have. So, yeah. Thank you for joining me on my little review of the 5 devices. Oh, wait, there's more. There's more. Of course, there's more. There's always more. So that is the 6th product. I need to just stretch back here quickly. This is the 6th product that TCL launched this year. So here it is here. Let's go back into full screen mode for a second. These are the TCL Nextwear NXTwear Gs. Super fun toy, this. If you are looking to buy yourself, and I say yourself, a Christmas present, might want to consider this. So let's take you quickly through what this is. These are not augmented reality or virtual reality glasses. So let's just put that out there straight away. That's not what this device is about. I'm just looking at my desk here. I've got so many toys. I'm smiling. So this is a personal screen. This gives you a 140-inch equivalent of viewing. So imagine sitting in your house and watching a 140-inch screen. Now, why would you want to do something like that? Well, I've had this discussion with a few people. The movie Dune has just come out, and of course, the new James Bond has just come out. And I've got a couple of mates that said they wouldn't watch it on the streaming services. I think they're both available, like on Paramount Plus or Disney Plus or something like that. That is a cinema-only movie. Well, yes and no. Yes, I agree. But if you have a decent setup at home, 7-in-1 surround system, 80-inch TV, you can get a pretty good experience. For some, that's not good enough. That's where NXTwear or Nextwear G comes into it. By wearing these glasses, you can have the equivalent of a 140-inch screen. So if you are lucky enough to have an 80-inch screen, then you measure like that. So take your 80-inch screen, imagine lifting it up on top and to the side, and that's the real estate equivalent almost. That would be 160 that you're going to get by using these glasses, because that's what it makes you feel like. They are Sony optics, so the lenses or the screens, they're Sony screens inside here, which I don't have to talk about again how good those are. There is built-in sound. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little hole over there. So there are little built-in speakers. I advocate that you use a headset. So going back to my reference of being able to watch a blockbuster movie, put in a pair of decent headsets, or even nice big over-the-ear headsets, noise cancelling, with really good rich bass. Something like Sennheiser makes them. Jabra's got a really nice pair. I've been playing a lot with JLab lately. I'm just having a look at it. I see a pair up there. Get any really good full sounding noise cancelling headset with these, and you have home cinema. Popcorn's cheaper. Beer's cheaper. Everything's cheaper. Toilets are there. So you can watch cinema at home, right? And I hear people say, "Oh, Brett, we've been locked down for ages. We want to go out." Yes, go out. But the point is, it's free. Once you own the headset, you don't have to pay for movies either, and you get good parking as well. So the one thing that people mentioned to me when I reviewed this, I can't remember when I reviewed this, it was June or July, I think, this year, is the cable. Now, I first looked at the cable as well, and yes, it's USB-C. And I was looking at the cable and I was going, yeah, why wouldn't you do wireless? Well, there's a couple of reasons. And now that the reasons been explained to me and I've used the device, the reasons make sense. So one, when something is wireless, you need a battery. Battery does two things. One, it needs to be charged and or runs out. Two, it adds weight. So you'd add weight to the device. So these will never run out of battery because they draw their power from the USB-C cable. And two, they're lighter because of the fact. So thankfully, there's no battery in here. The other thing is that it also delivers better quality via wire. Going back to the gaming mode, going back to the HDMI cable that I chatted about earlier, when you send sound or images, specifically more so than sound, over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, you do lose quality, even if there's enhancements. And in fact, I actually didn't mention that on the 20 Pro. There's actually high definition sound enhancements as well. You lose quality. So the wire is actually important for that thing. And it's actually positioned right here behind the ear. So if I go like that, let's go back into full mode for a second, turn that off. It's right here behind the ear. So, if I take those off and put these on for a second, I don't know what, but you can see the wire's here. It doesn't touch your head. It doesn't affect you. It's totally comfortable. Probably should put my reading glasses back on so I can see. And on that note, it comes with a little reading glasses attachment that you can put in. It has adaptable nose pieces, so you can move it further and away from your face if you need to for viewing. So they've thought of everything. I mean, it comes in a nice little carry case, nice solid one, so you can take it with you. And it folds up nice and easily. Boom, goes into its bag. Pricing, I wasn't sure. I think I remember it being $800-900 somewhere there. I don't know. You'd be able to find it online. The Harvey Normans of the world, JB Hi-Fi's maybe. I don't know. Just Google TCL 20 Nextwear G. In fact, not 20. I think it's just Nextwear G. Yeah. The other thing as well is it's surround aware. If you go back to the picture, let me put my pictures back up. If you have a look at me wearing it, where is it? So you can see that it actually sits high up above my face, right? You can see underneath. Now, at first, I felt I was worried I'd be distracted, like I'm trying to watch the content, but I can see everything else that's going on around me. It's actually quite a good feature, and I'll tell you what. One, you're aware of your surroundings. So if you're sitting in a plane watching, which is one of the places I actually have used this, so you're watching a movie in a plane, and the air hostess comes along, or the food cart, or more importantly, right, the bevy cart comes along, and you need to get yourself a cold beer. You're not going to miss out on it because you're not immersed. You're not locked away from everything. So it's definitely a lot safer. And then also, if you need to change the content or whatever on your phone, you don't have to take the headset off. You just look down. Pretend that they multifocals. You look down, you see your phone because it's playing off your phone, or off a tablet, off a computer, anything that has the USB-C out. I just need to stress that. So when I reviewed this device, someone posted in the chat, "Can you use it on an iPhone?" The answer is yes, but you need an adapter. So the iPhone has a Lightning port, so you need an adapter that goes in there that gives you a USB config. The iPad Pro has a USB-C out. You can use it on there. So it does need USB-C out. Let me just put those down for a second. Great toy, really fun. If you consider, I watch a lot of media. I watch a lot of movies. You always see me when I'm chats with people. Have you seen the latest? Have you watched this? Have you watched that? You must watch. So if you're someone that really appreciates content, we're allowed to start flying again. You can take this with you. There's nothing worse than trying to watch a movie on a crappy economy class headset screen thingy. Yes, I fly economy class. TCL, can we talk about increasing sponsorship money? I can fly business class. Then you get the big screens. But yeah, great for flying. Go down to the beach. Yes, swimming pool. It's not antisocial. You can still see everything that's going around you if you need to, but when you're actually watching and looking at the content, where I found it to really come into its own is in a nice dark room. So that's the other thing, right? If you in bed, your husband, wife, partner, whoever it is, I like to watch content to go to sleep. I can't go to sleep without content. I can put the screen on, doesn't affect anyone. So I don't have an iPad or phone with lights going or a big TV. So really great device. Yeah, had fun reviewing it. And I do think that brings me to the end of my reveals and my TCL love. So I always feature the SME Mall, smemall.org. I mentioned earlier that I would probably pick up the TCL 20R 5G. I found a great deal. Go to smemall.org, type in TCL to the search, or just go to the Technology Show store, click the Visit Deal button, and you can pick up the 20R 5G for $339. This is a 5G gaming phone for under 340 bucks. I do not know how much stock is there. Avoid disappointment. Get there now. Just buy it. Like, you'll find a reason to use it, and if you don't, you can gift it. But there it is. Go to smemall.org, search TCL, and you can get that phone for $339. That does bring us to the end of the show. I have to say, thank you to TCL. Thank you actually so much. I need to make a special mention to David and Jarvis at Closer, the PR agency. Always been able to help me get my hands on the latest and greatest toys. Joseph at TCL, the channel manager, you've been on our show before. Thank you. It's very rare that we get to work with a partner and a brand, like yourself. So hopefully many more years of working with you together. If we don't get you on the show or get any more information before the end of the year, wish you and the team and the family a wonderful Christmas and New Year's. Just be safe out there. And, we all got our freedoms back, so we need to just be careful. And that would probably then have to do it. So that was my love for a brand that loves our show as much as I love our show. And to all of you for watching the show. It would be absolutely pointless putting this on every week if there wasn't an audience for me to play it out to. So that brings us to the end of my TLC for TCL show. Until next time, keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.